guys, what's up? This is Shiv. Welcome to episode 2 of Eco Engineered. Have you ever wondered why Gujarat, despite having a coastline of over 1600 kilometers and having a rich history in water conservation, still struggles with water scarcity? Today, let us understand by delving deeper into the dynamics of water scarcity by indulging into a thought provoking discussion with Apoorv Jha, an environmental pacemaker and a social activist. Okay. Hi guys, welcome to Eco Engineered X Jal. My name is Shiv Mandlik. Understandably, you all know me. Then too, I'll introduce myself. Hi guys, my name is Shiv, and I'm a 11th grade PCM student. I'm a startup founder, and I'm running a non-profit organization named Jal. Apoorva is a ex-founder with Jal itself, and I'm a social pacemaker. I have been serving as the captain of my school since last 3 years, and I'm a professional soccer player as well, and I'm a ardent fan of public speaking. I've done 10 plus MUNs, and I recently got an opportunity to act as a vice chair at IMAN, India's international movement to Unite Nations. So, guys, today we have a one-on-one fiery debate with Apoorva Jha. So coming to Apoorva, let us know who Apoorva is. So Apoorva is a 20-year-old climate shaper from India, and he is also the founder of Kya Halchal podcast. And he is a very enthusiastic student who loves public speaking and volunteering, and has currently endorsed with different organizations. He also works for a well-known type 1 diabetic foundation named Diabetes, and that is under a youth wing named Blue Force Networks with different type 1 diabetic kids and teens. He also works for a collective goal to every type 1 to make each and every type 1 diabetic feel included and heard and loved and understood and celebrated. So in his meantime, he is also a bibliophile and loves reading books. And yeah, that I guess that covers most of it. He has completed his schooling from Shanti Static School. He was one of my seniors in the school as well. So yes, that covers most of the part. So yes, Apurva. How are you?
Hi Shiv, I'm all good, and yeah, thank you for that lovely introduction. Yeah, lots of things even I have forgotten कि ये सब भी किया हुआ है. So it's lovely to be over here and lovely to have this session with you. I'm looking forward to it.
Sure. So, yeah. So, guys, coming to today's motion for the debate, the most interesting part of this discussion. So, that is water scarcity in Gujarat. Is it a actual problem or a pseudo propaganda forged by the Gujarat government? So, witnessing the proficiency that Apurva and I hold in this particular topic, I've chosen this topic. So, Apurva, do you have any informal insights for the audience?
Uh, well, all I want to say before starting this is that in my very strong belief, I feel that right now, like this is just a debate, but this is actually a problem that we need to collectively address. And over here, we'll
Right,
be discussing this and we'll be showing you one side of it and how one group of people believe about it and how other group believes about it. But the
right.
reality is it exists. It exists. So I just want to say that here we'll be debating about,
Let's see. Let's
like we'll be debating against and for. So yes, we'll be doing it, but we want to clarify it that it is actually a real problem. It's with facts that
sure, sure.
facts. So yes.
Perfect. So yeah, so Apurva is for the motion and I'm against the motion, understandably. So yes, so Apurva, I'll explain you the structure of this debate.
Sure.
First, we will have a First we will have a opening statement. No time. I haven't set any time as such, time limit. You can take your time. I'll take my time, and then we can go with the motion speech where one will complete their points, and who may or may not be interrupted by the second speaker while speaking. But in the opening statement, you are expected to maintain decorum and listen to the opponent very carefully and clearly and deliberate upon very wisely.
Hmm.
So yeah. So being a guest at my channel, I'd be honored to give you an opportunity to open this debate. So yes, Apurva.
Okay, so thank you so much, Shiv, for this opportunity.
Yes.
And yes, so starting this debate, I'd like to mention first that water crisis is one of the major issues that we need to address in 2024 or 2025. Like we are almost at the end of 2024, so in 2025, and water crisis is is a thing that is growing and becoming much worse day by day, and it's not just connected with one thing, it's connected with different things. And so is the case in Gujarat. You all must have experienced this thing that in societies, in housing complexes, on a regular basis we see that there are like we face this water loss, or we face this problem where like for a short period of time you're not receiving water supply at your house, and this is becoming much more frequent because of the rising problem of water crisis, and because of the fact that we are polluting our water bodies, and we are also considering this thing that water crisis is not true. This notion and the fact that we are not giving it the required importance is resulting in
Hmm.
today's situation, which, because we might be a bit more privileged than what other people are, we might
Hmm.
not be experiencing it first-handedly, but
Hmm.
somewhere we also know that it is true. And with the depleting groundwater levels and the news around it being so evident now, I guess
Hmm.
it would be very right for me to say that yes, water crisis is a real problem. It's not something that is just a propaganda. It's a problem that is required for every single human being on this planet, and for every single state person who lives in this state, who lives in this city, and for every individual. It is equally important to understand this, because without this elixir of life, we don't have anything named life. So yes.
Correct. Okay. So thank you so much, Apurva. I wholeheartedly respect all your points with due respect. So yes, coming to my opening statement. Firstly, I'd like to open my statement with a shairi, if you allow. Yes.
Yes.
So listen to it. नन्हे हाथों को कलम छोड़ घड़ा उठाना पड़ा। नन्हे हाथों को कलम छोड़ घड़ा उठाना पड़ा। प्यास मिटाने को हर कोने में घिसट जाना पड़ा। प्यास मिटाने को हर कोने में घिसट जाना पड़ा उन गुजरात की गलियों में। सरकार के वादों में पानी था पर सिर्फ कागजों पर। सरकार की बातों में पानी था पर सिर्फ कागजों पर। बचपन छीन गया उनसे सिर्फ प्यासी रातों के सफर पर। बचपन छीन गया उनसे सिर्फ प्यासी रातों के सफर पर। साथ ही जब बेटियों की बात करते हैं हम गुजरात में, मैं तुम्हारी रोशनी हमारे देश के किसानों पर डालना चाहता हूँ। तो ठीक है। तो इसके लिए और एक शायरी है मेरे पास। खेत सूखे सपने सूखे सूखी थी हर एक लकीर। खेत सूखे सपने सूखे सूखी थी हर एक लकीर। सरकार के राज में किसानों की बनी सिर्फ तस्वीर। कि सरकार के राज में किसानों की बनी सिर्फ तस्वीर। जो मिट्टी से सोना बनाते वही प्यासे मर गए। जो मिट्टी से सोना बनाते वही प्यासे मर गए। पानी के वादे बस राजनीति में दब गए। दैट इज व्हाट आई एम ट्राइंग टू प्रूव ओवर हियर। द गवर्नमेंट इज ट्राइंग टू क्रिएट अ hyper realistic problem and trying to bring it to the commoners and trying to appeal the conscience of people and pose water conservation, water scarcity as a problem where it is very easy to mitigate. Gujarat being allotted very heavy funds in such a state, it would be very easy to mitigate such problems despite neglecting the varied topography in Gujarat. It is very much possible since due to the conservation effects forward by the government. When we talk about what government has done, let us talk about what yojnas and what schemes has government टेकन फॉरवर्ड, ठीक है। सो नंबर वन इज द सुजलम सुफलम योजना। तो इट वाज अ लार्ज स्केल प्रोग्राम टू डीपन वाटर बॉडीज एंड क्रिएट एडिशनल स्टोरेज कैपेसिटीज, ठीक है। एंड दिस इनिशिएटिव ऑल्सो emphasizes वाटर हार्वेस्टिंग एंड इंक्रीजिंग द ग्राउंड वाटर टेबल। So second one is the Har Ghar Jal Yojana. It is a very well-known yojana put forwarded by our respected Prime Minister. ठीक है। तो what was the problem in this particular scheme कि हर घर में नल तो लग गए पर जल नहीं आ पाया उन घरों में। सो देर इज नो पॉइंट ऑफ पुटिंग फॉरवर्ड टैप्स एंड promising and bringing out fake promises to the commoners। तो इसमें क्या हो रहा है, आई टेल यू कि ड्यू टू few people, due to concentration is such of the water distribution कि गुजरात में जो वाटर है दैट इज वेरी अनइक्वली डिस्ट्रीब्यूटेड, ठीक है। तो पहले तो व्हाट आर गवर्नमेंट शुड डू इज कि पहले तो जो वेरी टोपोग्राफी और डेमोग्राफी है उसके एट पार विद दैट आर गवर्नमेंट शुड कम अप विद अ प्रॉपर प्लान। ऐसा नहीं है कि गवर्नमेंट नई स्कीम्स नहीं ला रही है बट उसका इम्प्लीमेंटेशन नहीं दिख रहा है। साथ ही साथ किसान सर्वोदय योजना, चेक डैम कंस्ट्रक्शन, माइक्रो इरिगेशन स्कीम, मुख्यमंत्री जल अभियान, ये सब 2011 से ये स्कीमें पुट फॉरवर्ड की गई, ठीक है। बट इसमें इसका इम्प्लीमेंटेशन है वो कोई पॉइंट पे नहीं दिख पा रहा है आज भी। गुजरात में व्हेन वी लुक एट मेट्रो सिटीज लाइक सूरत, अहमदाबाद, स्टोरेज टैंकर्स में लोगों को पानी मंगवाना पड़ रहा है। तो हाँ, डू यू थिंक कि वी आर लिविंग इन 2024 और आज भी लोगों को स्टोरेज टैंकर से पानी मंगवाना पड़ रहा है डिस्पाइट ऑफ सच एफर्ट्स पुट इन। वन मोर शॉकिंग थिंग आई फाउंड इन गुजरात की क्या हो रहा है कि व्हेन वी लुक एट द केस इन गुजरात, ठीक है। तो गुजरात के एक एवरेज फैमिली फार्मर में 56,568 रुपीज का डेट है। वेयर एज अ फार्मर इन बिहार उसके ऊपर डेट है 23,534 का। जस्ट इमेजिन द सर्कमस्टांसेस कि हमारी सरकार इतनी भ्रष्टाचारी हो गई है कि आम किसानों तक पानी पहुंच ही नहीं रहा है। फार्मर्स आर कंडक्टिंग suicides. It was highest in Gujarat. I guess 124 suicides were recorded by in 2020, and between 2013 to 2015 also the suicide rate of farmers in Gujarat was at its peak. So this is the main problem. So this particular political propaganda has been created by the government, and who is suffering? The rural population, the underprivileged people. So water conservation, apart from being a propaganda, can also be thought upon as a urban elitist concept। क्योंकि when you think, तो जो गरीब लोग हैं, जो अंडर प्रिविलेज लोग हैं, दोज हु डज नॉट हैव एक्सेस टू क्लीन सैनिटाइज वाटर, तुम एक बात सोचो वो कंजर्व कहाँ से करेंगे? उनके पास तो अपनी नीड फुलफिल करने तक का पानी नहीं है। सो आई फर्मली बिलीव कि वाटर कंजर्वेशन इज अ अर्बन एलिटिस्ट concept, and rather than spreading awareness in the rural population and rural counterparts of our country, we should try to encompass and survey and reach out the urban population and urban people। So yes, that is what I wanted to say in my opening. Thank you so much, Apurva.
Okay.
Yes. So yes, do you have any counters for what I said?
Yes, I'd like to point out one thing over here, that you have mentioned the number of the farmers that have been affected over here with the water problem, and also the people in the rural areas who have been affected. And you have also mentioned about the topography of Gujarat on which the government should be working upon. Now, let me highlight one point over here, that is that not even just the rural people, but the urban people are also facing the problems of water. It's not, as I have mentioned in my opening speech only, it is
Hmm.
very frequent now that in our urban housing complex where middle
Hmm.
class and upper middle class people live, there on a
Hmm.
regular basis there is water shortage faced by people. It's not
Hmm.
about just one community or one set of people that are facing this problem. It's a problem that is ubiquitous, it's everywhere. And the fact is that the water is depleting every single day, But what our
Hmm.
people are prioritizing right now is the availability of internet. Recently, only in Times
Hmm.
of India, this news came that in Maninagar there was a small park area, a green space, a green patch of land where trees are there, and it is a very great natural spot. But what is happening is people are demanding more internet nowadays, and now because of their demands, companies are coming, companies are
So,
putting pressure on
okay.
the government, and companies are taking that spot. They're fighting for that spot. Right now, it is not
So,
given.
Apurva, when you talk about the growing need of internet, when you are saying, if you are indirectly also pointing out that our government is indirectly providing and trying to solve the internet problem in our country, have you forgotten the case of Manipur? Have you forgotten the case of Kashmir, where our
I'm
government
not
has
saying our
put
government
forward,
is
where the government has put forward the longest recorded lockdown on internet? Bro, this is
government
this
is
is
not
the
provide
government is posing a
solving the problem.
multifaceted
The
problem.
government is not
The
solving the problem of that shit. What I'm trying to say is government is
So you
creating
admit,
that
so you
that
admit that
patch
government
has
is not,
not been cleared.
the government is
I
not
said,
accountable.
I'm saying, let me complete. What I'm saying is
Okay,
that government is being pressurized by MNCs, corporates, and companies that yes, we want that patch. Government has not given that patch yet. What we are
correct.
trying to highlight over here is the
Hmm.
fact that people are prioritizing companies, companies are pressuring government, and we are not giving that spot because we know that that national spot is needed. Even some of the people, only the urban people, has said that yes, that green spot has been there for years. It is a natural spot, and as you know, green
Hmm.
natural spots, trees are needed to maintain the groundwater levels. So we are not
Hmm.
compromising on that. But it's always zeroes down to the people, as people themselves. Because see, we talk about that government is not doing this, government is not doing that, but we need some basic civic sense in people as well. When we see a
Hmm.
clean water body, the first thing that we
Hmm.
do is we throw a plastic bottle
Hmm.
in that water. When we always demand new clothes, and because of this demand, factories are being made, and we can't always just say no to this, because if we'll say no to that, then people will say there is no development, then the government is only blamed. So it's not it's
Correct.
being.
So, okay, when we talk about development, okay, I'd like to point out the government has shown a very, keen interest in having developments with a few individuals. I won't name them, understandably. But when we talk about Antilia, okay,
Hmm,
the house owned by Mr. Mukesh Ambani, I'll tell you, Antilia consumes about 18,230 liters of water per day. This is per day. And and it has been recorded the entire Ambani family lives only in the Antilia for mere 30 to 40 days out of the entire year. So do you think, is it justified? Is it feasible? And then our government is talking about development. If you think that this is not a problem, then why hasn't any single politician from any of the political parties who has been clearly supporting the Ambani family, why hasn't it raised its voice on the particular problem? Because when we see these politicians, when it is the time of election, or when it comes to the implementation part, they are नॉट वेरी एक्टिव. तो इलेक्शन पे दे प्रोमिस, बट जब इम्प्लीमेंटेशन की बात आती है तब दे बैक आउट. तो जो जो आई हैव दिस क्वेश्चन टू ऑल दी पॉलिटिशियंस और एनी वन हु इज endorsed or a part of any political party, कि आप जो वादे करते हैं सर, क्या आप प्रचार के समय तो आप ये वादे निभा देते हैं, पर अभी तक आपकी पार्टी में इतनी क्षमता क्यों नहीं आई है कि यू ask such industrialists, you ask such wealthy individuals कि why are they wasting water? तो इसमें क्या है, I'll tell you, कि rather than solving a problem is a one thing, and clearing out a existing problem is a second thing. तो नई स्कीम्स लाना, दैट इज अ पार्ट ऑफ सॉल्विंग प्रॉब्लम, एंटिसिपेटिंग प्रॉब्लम. बट जो एग्जिस्टिंग जो कॉज कर रही है जो चीज, ये वाटर स्कैरसिटी, उसको एड्रेस करना भी तो उतना इंपॉर्टेंट है, रादर देन पुटिंग फॉरवर्ड न्यू स्कीम्स. तो दैट इज व्हाट माय पॉइंट इज. इसके अलावा व्हेन वी टॉक अबाउट द वाटर स्कैरसिटी इन गुजरात, आई फॉरगॉट टू मेंशन कि approximately groundwater scarcity is mostly located in North Gujarat, Saurashtra, and Kutch region of the state. In North Gujarat, the groundwater scarcity areas cover the parts of Panchmahal, Banaskantha, Mehsana, Gandhinagar, and Ahmedabad district of Gujarat. ठीक है. The scarcity in these areas is faced on the account of erratic and scanty rainfall and a high level of irrigation development and partly due to inherently saline formation. So when we talk about the Saurashtra region, the topography is very rocky. ठीक है. और when we talk about Mehsana side and the उत्तर गुजरात साइड, वहां पे प्रॉब्लम ये है कि वाटर रेनफॉल तो हो रहा है बट इट इज नॉट एट पार विथ व्हाट वी आर टेकिंग अप फ्रॉम द ग्राउंड वाटर टेबल. तो वो जो एक साइकिल है दैट इज बीइंग डिसरप्टेड. तो उस साइकिल को फुलफिल करना इज ऑफ आउटमोस्ट इम्पोर्टेंस. तो वी नीड टू थिंक अपॉन दैट. ठीक
See,
है.
see, that's
हम्म.
one thing you have highlighted, okay? And also you have highlighted I really like the fact that you have highlighted the Antilla issue. Okay?
यस
Now let
यस.
me tell you one thing. This is not just me saying this, but it is also mentioned in one of the press releases by the Prime Minister's office. That is that India constitutes only 4% of world's fresh water. Okay? 4% of world's fresh water. Now, I know that we can't right now make water from ourselves. It's not possible by human capacity. It's not possible to like generate water, to make water. We have this 4% of water only. Now think about it. We are having a population of a billion people of population, and right now we are the world's most populous country. So many people and only 4% of fresh water we are having. 4% of world's fresh water. Now, if we are, and how can we expect to get it to every single person on in our country? You said Antilla is doing it because they are able to afford it. Right now, water crisis. Why we are emphasizing so much on the importance of reusing and
अगर
recycling?
अगर Bro, if it is about the cost or if it is about the economics of how the economical dynamics of how the entire water thing works, then तो water would be उस पे तो water का जो price है वो तो होल्ड होता जाएगा कि बढ़ता जाएगा day by day. So it should
It's not
not
like
be.
it's not increasing.
So
It's
what you
not
are
like
saying
it's
is
not
completely
increasing.
wrong. You should not see कि वो इतना water इसीलिए वेस्ट कर रहे हैं क्योंकि they can afford. वैसे तो अगर एट पार विथ व्हाट एन इंडिविजुअल अर्न्स, अगर एक आदमी उड़ाने लगा हमारे देश में तो देश में 4% का.
I'm not saying that they
मतलब
can afford. That's why they are
you
like
you
using it.
mentioned, you
I'm saying
quoted
that
that
you
they
have
can afford
mentioned that how much they are like if how much you have mentioned that how much the household is using how much water.
18,000 something. I'll need to look. 18,000, yes, 18,230 liters per day.
18,230 liters per day. Now,
Hmm.
let's say this is the consumption. Now, okay, let's say if we find some way to reduce it. This is just
Hmm.
consumption of Antilla. We are talking about one of the richest households in our country.
Correct.
It is having the highest, like let's say by the economics, it would be having the highest average than in comparison to all
Hmm.
the other household complexes. But in a normal
Correct.
household complex only, if I talk about it, a normal middle class house, or even if in rural area only, the average usage
Hmm.
is only 600 liters. How can we accommodate so this much amount of water when we are only having limited resources by ourselves, and government
Okay.
also keeps some
So
resource for emergency
answer this
time?
one simple question. Answer this one question, simple question. ठीक है. So government poses. ठीक है. Then you will only answer the question put forwarded by me.
Okay.
The government of Gujarat says कि according to October 2022 report, Gujarat was designated as हर घर जल state. ठीक है.
Hmm.
Which meant that all rural counterparts, all the rural families now have access to clean drinking water from faucets, ensuring that no one is left out. It also gave a staggering number. It was 91 lakh 73,378 homes in the state now have access to water according to the government of Gujarat. Now I'll tell you. Mehsana mein recently when during the time of election, what people said, people literally refused to pull in their votes just because they are not getting enough water. So it has two flaws. Number one, it counters the report put forward by our government, where it has declared Har Ghar, Gujarat as a Har Ghar Jal state. And secondly, has anyone thought how does it affect the democracy of our country? How does this affect the elections, which is an indispensable part of our democracy? अगर लोगों ने वोट बंद करना ही बंद कर दिया तो लोकतंत्र वोट क्रैश। ये कभी सोचा है? चलो, एक बार के लिए मान लिया कि the people of the state thinks that a government is not compatible or is not, you know, compatible to match the water demands of the state, तो दूसरी पार्टीज का क्या फॉल्ट है इसमें? तो लिटरली दिस इज अफेक्टिंग पीपल नॉट ओनली physically but also socially and psychologically. And it at the same time the government should also think upon the economic disparity and the social disparity that the people in rural counterparts are still facing. Do you know the concept of chua-chut? It is still being practiced in the state of Rajasthan. I am not able to recall the name of the state, but a recent report was shown where it has been shown कि छुआछूत, the practice of untouchability still prevailed in that particular state, जहाँ पे the ऐसा नहीं कि रूरल काउंटर पार्ट्स के लोगों के पास पानी नहीं आ रहा है, बट रूरल काउंटर पार्ट्स इज ऑल्सो डिवाइडेड। तो उसमें जो सबसे सबसे बैकवर्ड जो है, जो सबसे लेड बैक इंडिविजुअल्स है, उन्हें पानी नहीं मिल रहा है। तो इसके ऊपर कभी सरकार ने क्यों नहीं सोचा है? सो देर इज अ मल्टी फेसिडेड सोल्यूशन दैट द गवर्नमेंट शुड think upon when we talk about water conservation in our country.
See, now as I have mentioned before, we are having
Hmm.
only a limited amount of water. Okay, we
Hmm.
can't, and as I'm saying right now, the situation that we are in, the
Hmm.
only thing that we can do is to rely completely upon natural resources. Government is providing infrastructure for water harvesting and stuff, but people are only not very much ready to adapt it. We have given it to people. We have said that water infrastructure will be provided. We have given subsidies. We are trying from our side as well, but some people can't afford the infrastructure. Some people are not having
Hmm.
that kind of household that can hold that water harvesting our thing. So we try to educate them. We try to provide them the insights on the topic that yes, we need to save water. We try to provide them simple ways in which they can
So,
like save
okay.
water, but
So
still that's
that
not.
is what I said. That is what I said in the earlier part. कि देखो, water conservation is a urban elitist concept. It is only been made for the people who has ample of water present with them. तो और who could afford the water in your terms, मैं अगर ऐसे देखने जाऊँ तो,
ऐसे
and
देखने जाए
उसके
because see water
अलावा,
is not, again
but
as I said,
listen,
limited resource.
अब
We can't
for the
expect कि
people,
हर किसी को मिल
who
सकता.
are not getting ample of water to fulfill their basic needs, हमें क्या करना चाहिए? We should, the government and the people as well should ensure कि they are fulfilling their basic water requirements. ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए कि एक तरफ एंटीलिया में XYZ सर 18,000 लीटर्स स्पेंड कर रहे हैं डिस्पाइट नॉट बीइंग देयर, और दूसरी तरफ फार्मर्स आर कमिटिंग सुसाइड्स। दिस इज रॉन्ग। This mindset needs a change. The government, the government of India needs a change. The minds of politicians needs a change, and they need to stop, proposing this what the entire concept of water scarcity and conservation as a propaganda, and stop pooling in votes. क्योंकि अगर ये चलता रहा, जब when we talk about right to clean and safe water, I'm recalling this case from Sabarmati. I don't know if you were well versed with this fact or not, but 8 years back a lockdown was put upon water from Sabarmati. You know what happened?
Hmm.
Farmers were not getting ample of water to supply to their fields, and hence what they did was कि उन्होंने they directly connected their irrigation pipelines, ड्रिप इरिगेशन वाली, सीधा टू साबरमती. द गवर्नमेंट लिटरली imposed a fine, a heavy fine, and time in jail for that. So this is not justified again, क्योंकि वाटर तो एक पब्लिक रिसोर्स है, आप उसको ये कैसे कर सकते हो? एंड इफ यू आर पुटिंग डाउन अ लॉकडाउन, यू शुड कम अप विद अ इफेक्टिव सॉल्यूशन, कि उसके काउंटर पार्ट में कोई इफेक्टिव सॉल्यूशन लाओ। वाटर टैंकर्स का दाम घटाओ, फार्मर्स के लिए वाटर पे सब्सिडी लाओ, कुछ कुछ वाटर कंजर्वेशन
Chalo,
पे एक
okay, this
सब्सिडी
is
ले
one
आओ.
side that you have discussed. Chalo, now if we are talking from that perspective only, let me bring one more issue to you. You know, recently, this must have been observed by you. If I don't know, I'm like, you may be aware, might be aware about
Yeah,
this, that insulin
yeah.
prices have been rising rapidly. And you know, one of the
Hmm.
major components in making insulin is water. So you
Okay.
can picture this, that right now, because of water crisis, one of the major contributors to the rising prices of insulin is water crisis. And mostly
Hmm.
insulin is required by type 1 diabetics. And let me tell you, type 1 diabetics, most of the type 1 diabetics are very, like they are like there are people who are not having enough financial resources to afford those medicines. But a lot of rich
Hmm.
people I'm talking about, who are like upper middle class. I'm not talking about the middle class, I'm not talking about the lower class. I'm talking about the upper class. They are facing
Hmm.
problems in affording insulin. They are facing this problem, and they are also not just that only. They are also facing with problems with the maintenance of insulins. Okay, and this is because of the rising temperatures and other climate stuff. But let me tell you, this
Hmm.
significantly affect this water crisis as well. Now, let's say, as you have mentioned, 18,200 liters of water is being used in India. Let's say we reduce that. Let's say we say that, okay,
Hmm.
you can't use, like for every housing complex, we say, okay, this is the limit and you have to use this. Even if we impose that limit, someone will have to compromise. Someone, either the
Hmm.
rich, the middle class, or the poor, someone will face the
So
consequence
it
of it,
is
because
it is a do or die situation either ways for
it
both of
is.
them.
It
Uh,
is, and it's right
so
now
it
do
is
or
like
die
it is
situation. The
like
only thing
you
that
it
can
is
control this.
what it is like what it looks like, as you said, one should die for other to prevail. And so
I'm not saying
how is
one
this?
should die. I'm right now. I'm saying that we, like, again. This is like this. The situation is getting like that. Right now, we are at such a point that either we can be in this situation that one has to die, and only a certain number of people will survive,
So
or we can
understandably,
turn around this
understandably,
situation.
understandably, it is the human tendency. Basically, if you are a professional, if you are an official in government, say, so whom would you give preference to? The urban elitist population or the rural counterparts who are exploited and robbed of the basic means of water?
This would be definitely the rural one who will be exploited.
No,
We are failing.
how?
We know we are
You,
failing.
it
Government
is
is failing in
this
that.
is not possible. This is you are just thinking about it morally. So what officials think is they just don't keep in mind the moral part. They keep into consideration all the different aspects. And in majority of time, when you ask an individual, it is the basic tendency that he or she would say that they would allow the urban elitist population to live and the other counterpart to die. I'm 110% sure.
Okay.
So, in conclusion, what I am trying to say is that water crisis or the problem of water scarcity should be approached with multifaceted solutions. ठीक है? It does not have one single solution. It does not have one particular targeted area to work upon. ऐसा नहीं है कि एक ही पॉपुलेशन को वाटर कंजर्वेशन से फायदा होगा. एज टेकिंग इनटू कंसिडरेशन व्हाट आई एंड यू डिस्कस्ड, यू सेड कि इंसुलिन के प्राइसेस आर राइजिंग. आई सेड कि पीपल आर माइग्रेटिंग, पीपल आर बीइंग रॉब्ड ऑफ their basic means of water, farmers are conducting suicides. So, in conclusion, from my side, ki water can be looked into. Water is a very conservation of water is a very complex topic. It could be thought in very different ways. तो हमें what we need to think is that कौन से टाइम पे कौन से अप्रोप्रिएटली हम कौन सी जगह पे वाटर को डिस्ट्रीब्यूट कर सकते हैं. व्हाट कैन वी डू? और ये वाटर कंजर्वेशन, it is my personal opinion, it is such a problem that would prevail even 100 years from now. This is not a problem that could be solved. तो इस पे सॉल्यूशन लाने से इससे बेटर थिंग इज कि वी शुड ट्राई टू मिनिमाइज द इम्पैक्ट ऑफ वाटर
Hmm.
स्कैरसिटी.
Exactly.
Eliminating is not a solution, but rather mitigating and minimalizing the particular problem is the solution. So that
Hmm.
is from my side. So
Hmm.
yes.
Yeah. Yeah. This is rightly, very rightly. It is mentioned. It is said by you that because
Mm.
as we have discussed continuously in that fact that we are having only a limited amount of water. We can't just completely, like we can just mitigate the amount of water being used till the time being that we don't develop such a way that we can, like make water from our own self. Artificially water can be produced. Till
Mm.
that, I guess we all need to, because it's not like that 10 years before also we were facing this problem. People were dying because of water shortages. Farmers were still dying. The problem was still prevailing. And
Mm.
again, the urban elitists were getting more water in comparison to rural ones. So that is
Correct.
true. That is very true. And it will be true for a very long time, unless and until we, obviously figure out some way to make water artificially. So till that time,
Correct.
we'll have to work collectively. It's right now we are
Mm.
at a very, we are facing the issue which is very time sensitive. Either we'll turn this around by working, like working collectively. We can figure out multiple ways, like somehow, like we can, like divide our country into zones where we can, like say ki, okay, these zones are having enough water, so they can have some restrictions on water usage, that only this much amount of water has to be used.
Yes,
People
yes.
have to
Correct, correct,
reduce the water footprint. We can do this, and the amount of water that is saved, that will be provided to the extreme red zones and all. There are
correct,
multiple solutions. We have multiple solutions. So right now, to conclude myself, I'll say this with a quote of mine that I have always said and I have always preached, that is, nothing changes in one day, but one day comes when everything changes. बदलाव एक दिन
correct,
में नहीं आता, पर एक दिन आता है. तो उस बदलाव के
correct.
लिए collectively we'll have to work. We won't see results in a day. We won't be seeing it maybe even in a decade. We'll have to wait for more than that, so that हम लोग देख
Correct.
सके कि हाँ, कि हम लोग सर्वाइव कर सकते हैं, आने वाली जनरेशन सर्वाइव कर सकते हैं. बिकॉज अगेन, पानी इतना है, लोग इतने सारे हैं, एंड इट्स ग्रोइंग, इट्स नॉट स्टॉपिंग एनीवेयर. But for water,
Yes,
we
yes.
can't say this. Water is this much only,
Correct.
and it won't grow very soon, as we are seeing.